Just in my, yeah. Yeah. Hola, hola. Hello, hello, Lisa. Hello, Marie. Lana is here. Marta is here. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. What a beautiful day we had here in Sydney. Cheryl is here. Rosetta is here. Janet is here. Today, thank you for joining me at a little bit of a different time today. We had Hani saying hola, 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 my lovely ladies. Today we have a very, very special guest. So, I don't know if you have seen, but lately we've been working with this beautiful lady, Luisa, and she's gonna be Luisa, which is actually a very easy name to pronounce for me because it's a little bit of Spanish there. And I'm so excited to invite her here. I know that as soon as you'll see her, you will recognize who she is. And it's been, we met her through all the lockdowns, and now we were looking for different things to do for you, for social media, and then we came across her. So with that introduction, let me I invite Luisa to join us. Let me see, there we go. Remember that I'm not amazing with this. Just be with me. She should be here. Yes, she's here.
Hey, hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Making sure, can everyone hear?
Yes. So lovely to meet you.
You too.
And thank you so much for saying yes. I believe that now we're in a different time zone.
Yes, we're an hour behind, I think. So 3 o'clock here.
So tell us, where are you right now?
I just got home. I actually had a skincare shoot on the Gold Coast this morning, so I was able to drive back in time to do this today. So yeah.
And you're in Queensland, correct?
Yes, Queensland, in Brisbane. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I thought that it was outside Brisbane. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, no, Brisbane since I was 23. Yeah.
Okay, well, you took me to my first question. So I think that for the last few months we started working together, and the followers have enjoyed every single bit of content you have done for us, because it's made with love, and I can see it. I think that I said it on one of my messages to you. Thank you, because that's one of the things when you work with an influencer. It is that feeling there, when you're enjoying what you do. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do now and what you do before, what you did before?
Yeah, I'll try and make it really brief, because I'm one of those examples of sometimes you don't start out of school doing exactly what you want. So I left school wanting to do photography and fashion design.
Yeah.
I did quite well with my score, but it was just very hard to get into those courses. So I ended up kind of struggling to know what I was going to do. So I started architecture. I only lasted a couple of weeks, and then I was kind of at a crossroads. How else can I use the skills that I had? So I ended up studying business communications and marketing, and that's why I came to Brisbane. So I moved up. I finished that degree, and I worked in marketing and PR for 8 years. I worked with the Queensland Symphony Orchestra for 8 years.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. And so an opportunity came when I took some time off work with the two children. So I had my children very close together, which is a little bit unexpected, but our children are 11 and a half months apart.
Exactly like my eye.
Yes, it was a very busy time.
Wait, anything, like, that's it. Like,
yeah, it's very tricky. So when they started school, I thought it was an opportunity to go back to college and follow my first love, which was photography. So I studied at college with school leavers for a year. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people from different age groups. So I studied photography, and then after that, I started my own newborn photography business. And I absolutely loved that. I did that for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
I loved it. It was a real passion. I have a passion for photography that will never go away. Creativity, anything that gets, I just have a creative mind.
Behind it. Yeah, and even though you didn't follow with architecture, it's also a creative side of it as well that plays an
Yeah,
amazing role.
yeah. And then after that, I ended up being quite well known for my design. So then I saw an opportunity to develop another business where I started designing backdrops, which were created digitally. And
Oh, wow.
so then I started to kind of do a bit of an entrepreneurial kind of business off the side. So I ended up creating over 4 years, 4,000 digital designs. The wonderful thing about that is that when everything changed last year, I decided that my back was hurting too much and I was a bit tired. So
Yeah.
I ended up leaving that, and then I left all of those designs. Now that I have someone who caretakes those for me. And so I kind of sit back and I thought, what else do I want to do? Like, I want to follow another passion.
Was that a little bit of a reinvention coming out of, everything that was going on at the moment?
Yes. Yes,
When,
I think a lot of people had those moments at that time when I had kind of felt like my body was taking a battering because I had to lean over a lot and my back was hurting. And I thought, I don't want to be turning 50 and be very physically exhausted at the end of the day. I felt like I was just worn out. So I thought, I'm going to step back, take a little bit of time. And this is at the same time that I decided to let my hair grow out. So during lockdown and all of the restrictions, I thought, well, what can I do? Because my creativity is kind of therapy. So I felt that I could document this. Yeah, yeah, it is. So it's like therapy. I think when you feel it in your bones, to not be creative is you feel not really in touch with yourself. So I started then channeling my creativity into just documenting with fashion and style and all these things to try and make what is a difficult transition fun. So that's why I decided to kind of play with makeup, play with hair, so that it can kind of almost be like a diary of what you can do if you grow out your
so
hair.
you had these both transitions. You had the transition of your professional life. You were changing roles due to the pandemic. You were reinventing yourself, but then at the same time, with the what with your personal look, you were also kind of like embracing the moment and reinventing yourself. So you, as my husband would say, like that was a double whammy. You did twice, two things,
Yeah, yeah.
and one. Please tell me, that is one of the most brave things I have ever heard. Like, it's not easy to change careers or what we do, because we do get into a comfort zone of
Yeah.
doing, and taking a leap of starting a business. Probably you have the creative vibe, and then you also have the entrepreneurial side, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. But that you did that, and you also changed your look.
Yes,
Tell me,
it was a lot.
think that you're one in a million that decides to do for everything at once.
At once. Yeah. It was a lot.
Correct. Okay, explain to me that one, because I found that fascinating.
So I'm a little bit spur of the moment with my hair. Sometimes I will just decide to do something spur of the moment. It doesn't always work out well, which it didn't work out this time. So
You
part of
had
why
you I mean, that's one of the things that, and I'm gonna be really honest here, that was one of the things that instantly attracted me. I was like, who's this woman? And she looks amazing. So tell me a little bit about your hair, because that is a big decision.
yeah, the decision was easy because I'd really just become tired of touching up my hair every 10 to 14 days, because I have a very white streak in the front that would turn up fairly early. So what I decided to do was go to a hairdresser and ask her to change my dark brown hair to strip the color out so that I could come back to a bit more of a steely, blondie, gray kind of color. Now, I didn't actually intend to grow my hair out at that stage. What happened was that the hairdresser and my hair in combination didn't cope with the bleaching process. So I ended up having a burnt scalp. I had, my hair was snapping off. It was very bad. I have photos on my Instagram account. It's why I started the account, because I wanted to try and save another woman from going through that process and having nearly half of my hair snapped off, because the bleach and my maturing hair didn't cope with the chemical treatment. So what ended up happening was I just came home one day and I said, I can't do this anymore. I just want to have healthy hair. So that was when I decided that I thought, I don't want to put any more chemicals on. I'm just going to see if I can do it. And that was it. And so once I started, I got my head into the moment. And what is hard about it is actually changing your internal visuals about what you see. Like gray hair doesn't mean older, because there are women in their 30s, 20s, 40s, all naturally gray. It's just that we don't see it anymore. So it's a lot to do with, I had to work on my own visual perceptions of what I thought I saw, and I challenged those. And now I actually see gray hair as a sign of strength. I think it's beautiful. I actually feel like my skin looks better than when it did before, because I have maturing skin sometimes look better with a softness sometimes. So I feel, looking back at photos, that I do prefer my color now. So there you go. It works out.
Well, it worked out, and let me tell you, it looks absolutely amazing.
Oh,
and I think it looks amazing, but it's also the way you embraced it as well. I think that, you know, that's a beautiful, and, you know, sometimes this may sound like we heard this before, but how we feel people will see that as well. And I feel that, you know, you show that you love it. You show that you're good with it. And that is amazing. Do you do any specific treatments to keep it so beautiful, so healthy, so shiny?
There's a lot of learning that you have to undertake when you do go silver. We say silver, not grey. There's no wrong or right. It's silver or grey. It's silver. Silver just sounds pretty. So you do have to take care. You can't just use lots of heat treatment. So the main things is that you are concerned about is that heat can damage hair no matter what it is. So the white hairs are particularly fragile. And that's why I had a lot of breakage in my hair, because I've realized that as my hair's grown out, where I had breakage is where I had the white hairs. So you have to be super careful with heat. So that can just be sun, that can be heat tools, it can be hair dryer. So basically I use a lot of heat protection wherever I put heat on it. If I'm in the sun, I will usually wear a hat.
That's an amazing tip to give, the heat protection, because it's a spray that I have and I normally forget to use it. So that's an amazing tip.
Yes. So heat protection, and anything that you think about causing heat, and anything that can discolor. So I won't, if I do a tan, I won't put tan on my face, because I don't want the color to go into my, because all you think about is white hair is just like white linen, or anything that's very fragile that will take in color. So you just have to treat it with care. And I don't put a lot of, say if I use a hair product, I check the bottle to make sure it's not yellow. So I bought products before, I've not taken them out of the container and put them on a white, something white, because if you put them on your hand, you can't see if it's yellow often. So what I do is make sure that every single hair product I take out of the container to make sure it's not yellow. And so that's generally the things that you have to be careful of. And also one of the things that you have to be is very patient, because most women, it will take 2 years to get your hair back to where it was. I had hair up to below my shoulders, and I will be 2 years in February for growing my hair out. And I think I'll kind of be back to the length where I lost the length before.
Wow, amazing. What an amazing journey. So then I guess let's just go back a little bit into the career side of things. So you started your Instagram presence with this new Instagram profile, and tell me a little bit about it. How was the beginning? How was the reception? Because, you know, the moment that we started working together, everyone loved it. And I think that is something that is beautiful about embracing who you are and how you look. But it only
Yeah.
comes with acceptance and time. And I think that you're playing such an amazing role on that through your feed. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about it.
So, so the one thing I will say is that I've, like a lot of women in the Silver Sister community, which is a support group online that use the hashtag Silver Sister, and that basically connects women worldwide. And what a lot of women who are like that, it's not about saying one is better than the other. Like dye is not better, grey is not better. No one is better. It is what is right for you, and really encouraging women to feel like they have the choice, because a lot of women don't feel like they have the choice. Some stylists are still telling women, no, you look old with grey hair. So part of the community is to support women to overcome those outdated beauty standards, which is that if you feel you want to embrace it, surround yourself with people who will support you. And that is what the Silver Sister community online is. So when I decided to, I discovered the Silver Sister community, and what I found that they were doing was creating the support network using an Instagram account, which then creates almost like a pathway for other people to follow. That's what I loved about it. So when I went online, I saw all these women who'd created these beautiful pathways to show what was possible and how you could make the 2 years a little bit more enjoyable than just sitting there and twiddling your thumbs. And it actually helps you in the low moments when you're challenging those inner thoughts that go back to, you know, often I would wake up and the hair was short, was cut, I didn't like it. And I would rechannel my thoughts when I created something positive, or I got online and I kind of connected with the community. So a community of women who it's very, very positive. And so that was a huge thing for me. Is I started that in March, this account in March last year. And then what I wanted to do was try and do a photo a day, so that in time you could just scroll back 2 years and see how, you know, it's possible to also enjoy it. Yeah, to enjoy it. And then it probably just took off from there, because I love fashion and styling. And because we were very restricted going out, I just used that as an opportunity to take photos. I had my own studio just at home, the leftover from work. So I just enjoyed the process, and I think it just comes down to finding the things that you get positive energy from. So being a part of the community and supporting the community. So you'll see in my stories that I do share a lot of other women in that community in my stories as well. So I try to use my platform to sort of share the message as well. And I keep it positive. I'm a positive person in that I know that there are negative things in life, but I do feel that sometimes when you're opting in for something, you do need to keep it somewhat positive, because when you are going through hardships, it's okay to kind of share a few things that are not so great. But sometimes when you're switching on and you do actually need a positive network, I do like to keep it positive, because I feel like you can get a little bit, it's fine to share all the ups and downs, but essentially what we're trying to do is just say, you know, you can get through it. You know, you have bad days, but you can get through it.
So many different situations, especially when you're sharing them, and when you have a support network around you. And I think, you know, a lot is being said about social media, but on the bright side, I think that through the lockdowns and through everything that we have gone through in the last almost 2 years now, I do see that these private groups and these community groups are helping big time, you know, to keep the spirit up, to feel that, you know, you're part of the group, that you have people around you, to generate that acceptance as well. What do you think? Like, I think that, you know, you don't
absolutely.
feel, the moment you
Absolutely.
feel that through the same, you feel, I'm not alone. Like,
that's exactly what you said. I'm not alone. So that's probably the biggest part of it, is to really feel that you're not alone, and that there are other people going through it. Other people have done it before you. Other people are going to do it after you. And it doesn't matter if you have one silver hair or you have a whole head. There's silver is different. That's the one amazing thing about silver hair, is that no one single person on the planet has your hair pattern. So when you start to delve into things like that, it really makes you kind of search inside to really feel a little bit better about some of the other things that you've got that are changing. So when I decided to accept my hair, it was like slowly unboxing a box of chocolates. I had no idea what was underneath the dye because I'd never let my hair grow out. So you really have to, it's almost like going off this plank and saying, I'm just going to be okay with whatever I get. And so you literally just evolves and before your eyes. So you have to come to terms with not being able to control the situation. I couldn't control my hair, so I had to sort of process all those feelings, which I feel strong about, because I feel like once you give way to that fear of not being able to control how this looks, it kind of gives you a bit of freedom. And that's what you find a lot of women who let their hair go silver, is that they do experience a really wonderful sense of freedom, because you have all those feelings that you kind of have to tackle as you're going through the process.
And I think that is also part of like growing older as well. I'm going through this process. I have little kids, and then on Facebook you have all these reminders now, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and you see that, wow.
Yeah.
Different there. But then I'm really enjoying the process of getting older and loving the stage where I am at the moment. I look very different, but I really like the person that I have.
That's what. Do you find, and I find, I don't know whether you find this as well, is that I love that social media is also allowing us to have those difficult conversations and present options. So for me, I wanted to feel a lot more positive about getting older. So probably following certain accounts wasn't going to do that for me. So I ended up filling my feed with lots of women who were older, and so your visuals start to change. So I started to feel, oh gosh, I like the idea that I see this woman, just loving life at 70. She's out wearing a bikini at 70. And I think it kind of takes a little bit of that fear away that we didn't see ourselves before. But now if we look, all these women are sharing their stories, so that it actually makes it a little bit easier for women like me. When I look forward to that, I think I want to be swimming at 70. And if I want to wear a bikini, I'll wear it. And it's for no one else but me. And that's correct. The other thing that I think this process actually instills in you, is how important it is to do things for you and for no one else, and that someone else's opinion. Because I get a lot of people telling me, when I had an open, my Instagram got shared on a couple of different platforms, and there was a lot of negative comments on the thread, because it was in another country that does not kind of embrace grey hair as much. And it was emotionally challenging for me, because there were 80% were negative, saying how old I looked. And so I had to process how that felt. And initially it hurt, but then I realized that, why did it hurt? Because their perception of whether grey hair makes you look, it's all about society. It's all about what we've been taught. And so should it worry me if someone else thinks I look 10 years older? Well, no, it doesn't. So as much as, and the thing is that you can say that, but actually to feel it deep down actually takes a lot of change, because you can be all bravado and say, oh, I don't care if someone says I look 70. But yeah, it's taken a bit of time to just process it. But I feel, again, stronger now, because someone can say that and it doesn't bother me at all. Like, it doesn't bother me if someone says, oh, you look older with grey hair, because it's, for me, that's not.
It's a consciousness making you feel good. And that's at the end of the day what matters. And that's what we project. And that's exactly what matters.
And if we feel good, it doesn't matter what someone else's opinion of that. And the way we dress, if someone says, oh, well, we think that color suits you. I just wear whatever I like. I don't stick to colors. I love every color of the rainbow. I actually can wear more colors now, I think, with silver hair, which I love. And I didn't used to wear white a lot.
You're wearing one of our tops. Yes. And it looks beautiful on you. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
But I didn't used to wear white a lot, because I felt with my hair, I would just like, I'd look in the mirror and I go, something's off, and I would take it off and change. But now I love wearing white. So I think the white, it really has allowed me to add white back into my wardrobe, which I like.
I know that. And tell me a little bit about your kids. So when you made that change, tell me a little bit about the reaction. Because I don't know, I have this theory that the older I get, the more I look at what my mom has gone through, and I'm really, every time that she gives me advice, I have this thing that I said when I was in my 20s, she gave me advice and I was like, whatever. In my 30s, I was like, she may be right. And then now, like I said, I go into my 30s and I'm going into my 40s now. My mom said something and I'm like, oh, that's going to happen. So whatever she says, go. Yes. Really look up to her. And the older I get, I go like, wow, you know, the way she has done things. Yeah, has definitely put, you know, a different perspective for me. So tell me a little bit about your kids and how old are they and what was the reaction, your family, your friends. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the interesting thing is that I'm also married to someone who makes me feel very comfortable in myself, that I actually didn't even tell him that that's what I was doing. So I didn't even say I'm going to go great. I just knew that and I do know that I'm quite fortunate because, you know, there are some, but I always just felt that, well, I'm not going to ask him because, one, I probably don't want to know the answer, because if he said, oh, don't, it would be, he would only be saying that because of certain reasons. So when I knew it, I thought, I want to do it for me, so I'm going to do it. And what other people, like my kids, might have said no, but I thought, well, I know that they will want to support me for whatever I want to do. So I just went ahead and did it. And then gradually they realized what was happening. But they were supportive. They've always been supportive. So my daughter is 20 and my son is 21 and he's in Melbourne, sadly. So we haven't seen him for quite a while. But they've been amazing. And I do have my daughter saying, you know, things where occasionally she'll send me a little message saying how proud she is because she sees what I do, and, you know, and that's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling when your kids can see that, that, you know, you're doing something from the heart and that, you know, it really comes from that place. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing to know. What an example. I think that for them and for all of us here, I think that you have touched a point that, you know, you've been brave the way you handle it, and it's been amazing. And what an example for all of us. So thank you so much for. Thank you for sharing it with us. Is there anything else that you want to add to the conversation, or that you want to? Let me just see here a couple of questions.
I would say quickly. You don't. If for any woman who's thinking about it, this is the tips I would have. Is just do a bit of research online and see whether it's something that you might want to do. The more informed you are before you start to think about going silver, the better you can plan ahead. So that if you're thinking about embracing your hair, you can actually gradually prepare your hair to go grey without having to have a big line between the colours of your hair. So if you start to talk to a stylist, the more you plan ahead, the easier the transition will be. Some people can do it over 6 months and then gradually add blonding bits and blend it into the grey, and that can work quite well. And so you don't have to go through such a hard, you know, it's tough. I think the result of going through something tough means you feel stronger. And then reach out and online. So online is amazing community that you can't underestimate how many women have actually succeeded because of the network of women that are there to just hold you together. Whether you've got 5 followers or 20, it doesn't matter. The community is not about numbers. It's about supporting each other in whichever way you want to share. Some women still stay private with their Instagrams, and that's great because that's just what they're comfortable with. But really, it's just a network of women who are lifting each other up, which is a pretty amazing thing in this day and age, you know, to have such a large amount of women helping each other.
Especially now, yeah. So, Luisa, thank you so much for joining us. You definitely have been one of the silver linings for us, literally a silver lining.
Thank you. That's so lovely. Thank you.
I adore seeing when you wear our range. Is fantastic. And I also think for my followers, it's fantastic that we put a face to the relationship. I am not an email person. I'm a phone call, like when I need something to get done. And now I've been actually doing a lot of FaceTime. So I think that we love you. And before, when it just turned up with, you know, such a beautiful, positive attitude. But now that we can really connect with you, I think that they will follow you as well, and they will appreciate all this positivity that you're putting out there.
You. So, and thank you for trusting me with your beautiful designs. I get great pleasure in creating things, as you know. So it gives me purpose to creating some things. So I really do enjoy it. And thank you for supporting me that way.
It's amazing that we both can make a living of something that we love.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luisa, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Soon.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.